Welcome to Mid Wales by the sea. That's the Llŷn Peninsula over there. We're about 3.5–4 miles south of Aberystwyth as the crow flies, or usually the kite. And we've had terrible broadband. And the reason for this is that we had a bunch of armoured cable coming down, cable tied to a fence. There were stakes driven through it, and when it would rain, we'd lose our phone completely. So broadband was hit and miss. But when we moved here about 4 years ago, it was okay. We got about half a meg. We could survive on that. But with the FTTC rollout in Aberystwyth, as we are told crosstalk, things just got worse and worse. We got a solution. But if you look up there, you see a telegraph pole, and on there are 2 commercial grade 3G routers, and that kept us going for probably about 2 years. Gave us initially about 2 meg, and things gradually improved, and finally I think with the 4G router we were getting about 20 meg with about 100 millisecond latency. So that really kept us going. That was fine, and for that we'd like to thank Peter Williams of the Welsh Government, who kind of opened our eyes and gave us some ideas of routers and a design for the solution. Peter, we wish there were more people in the Welsh Government like you. You're a wonderful human being. Well, thanks for the advice and the stopgap. When we moved in, we got a grant from the Welsh Government and we got a satellite dish. And to be fair, it was useless. A scrap heap is the right place for a satellite dish. We think politicians should not be suggesting it as a solution for rural areas. When it rains heavily, it doesn't work. The wrong sort of cloud cover. It's expensive. The latency is almost a second. It's not a viable solution. And the bandwidth just disappears. Now, however, we're in a much better place. In fact, we have among the fastest broadband of any property in Wales, which, given where we live, is quite something. So, how did we do it? Well, if you look up there, you'll see a 12-ton track machine, and our solution involved actually doing some work. We did some digging. So we were incredibly fortunate to get a bunch of 100mm duct, some 50mm duct, some boxes that look like this from Openreach, and we put them in ourselves. And so we'd like to thank Bryn and Lowry, the farmers, who let us dig up this track and put 1.2 kilometres of duct in. This is something that Tony and the family live further down, and we did that over the winter. Don't do this in February or December if you do it. But getting there was, doing the work was nowhere as difficult as the administrative side. No matter, we're there now, and I believe for others taking this sort of route going forward, it will be much easier. One person who we've got to thank is Owen Roberts. Elin Jones is the Welsh Government member, past case manager. Owen is now off marketing meat in Wales, and Owen was pivotal in getting Susie Marston involved, who got Paul Jones to the party. So this box here, this is a box. There's a duct. There's about 400 or 500 metres of duct that way, and another couple of hundred, probably 600 or 700 metres of duct, 100mm duct that way. Owen, this for being the number 3 most wonderful human being on the planet, we've dedicated this box as the Owen Roberts Underground Box of Joy. Once we were able to deal with Openreach staff, things just magically happened. It was fantastic. Were a few bumps on the way, and Ceredigion really is incredibly fortunate that we have both, there's not party political anyway, with both Mark Williams and Elin Jones, and we're one of the few counties in Wales where both the AM and the MP really get and fight for broadband and for the constituents, and we're really fortunate on that count. I'd like to thank Michael Chappell for his efforts with the Chairman's office. Lisa and Linda at the BT Chairman's office, you lovely people who tried really hard to make a difference, but these things are difficult. Sponge and Aled as digger drivers, there was one day in December between Christmas and New Year when I was working on here, and the wind was blowing, the rain felt like it was coming up from the ground, I was on my third set of waterproofs, and Sponge sort of opened the door of his digger and goes, "Oh, I'm nice and warm, I got the heater on." I was frozen. Good thing about having digger drivers in, there's a great deal of experience. Sponge, for example, had worked in the Antarctic for the MOD, is they really know how to do things right, and they've done these things before. Just don't try and do this in December. One person who was also absolutely pivotal, and probably the #1 most wonderful human being on the planet, is Kim Mears, Openreach Managing Director for Infrastructure. You made this all really happen. You got us the duct, the 7 boxes, the bends, the way leaves sorted out. We put them in the ground, but without you none of this would have happened. So we're designating this box here, which I believe is an A-road class construction, built to the design of a nuclear missile silo, as a shrine to Kim Mears as the most wonderful human being on the planet. Kim, you got Ian Livingston involved. Ian, I hope you're having a fantastic retirement. You did the right thing, certainly for us and our neighbours. You got Andrew James, who took over administering the way leaves, which was not trivial. Getting the sort of mechanics of getting us the boxes, the rope, the bends, the duct, the extra bends, the extra duct we needed, and being on hand when we had any questions. It was so easy to work with you, Andrew. It was an absolute pleasure. Susie Marston, we also have a shrine to you. It's in the corner of the field. It's box number 4, I think. Just because it's in the corner of the field makes no less significant. You got Paul Jones involved. And then everything just sort of fell into place. I don't know what mechanism that was used to get Owen Roberts used to get you involved, but it was a major turning point. Paul Jones, the project manager for BD UK, based in Newtown, you just made stuff happen. You kept us informed. You made sure you were involved in everything. Once you were involved, everything we knew it was just going to be fine. You made the jigsaw fall into place. Every problem was quietly solved. These things don't happen overnight, but people did turn up, they did stuff. Your shrine is a speed test that says 282 megabits per second. Joe McDonald, I believe BT Director somewhere in the northeast, thank you for unblocking some things when they got blocked. The lorry driver for Openreach, who did deliveries. Once you knew where we were, it was much easier. Had a bit of trouble finding us to start with. Delivering the 200 pipes that we ended up, 6-metre pipes that we ended up having to put in. John, the Openreach surveyor, for making it clear this project was doable once we had the duct in place and could get fibre in. Bill and Ben, who pulled the fibre blown tube and the copper cable. I think you call Andy and Stuart, but thank you very much. And all the contractors who came to do the box in the road that's way over spec, and all the other people we don't know or we didn't meet, but just as important, we don't know your names, but cheers. And the local Openreach engineers who, for the time we were here and in our previous property, have kind of kept us limping along. Eugene, David Jones, 2 or 3 that I didn't get the name of. And particularly Richard Woods for your happy, upbeat outlook on the prospects of us getting an improved service. You're more than welcome, any of you, to come and use our Wi-Fi anytime. I think Mark, the engineer who did the final install last Friday and found a cake with the kids had iced Openreach on it. I don't think he was expecting that. There's still a lot of rural Ceredigion to do. We're about, I think, 57%. A lot of that is the urban areas of Ceredigion. But one of the things we learn is never give up. Try every possible action. Don't take no for an answer. If you come across a block, just try another route. Ask and ask again. Hassle. Don't accept a delay. Educate yourself. Understand the problems. In 2016, fast broadband should be a right, not a luxury. It's an economic enabler. And what we have experienced is that Openreach are doing their very best to deliver that. We've come to think, and we're not being paid to say this, but that Openreach is an absolutely fantastic organisation. we're hamstrung by a sort of insanity of the world around it to get things done. When it was just ourselves and Openreach involved, this joint kind of project just happened. So we're really grateful to Openreach for what they've done here, and we think it's a model that others could use to go forward. 2016, our local councillor in Ceredigion, Alan, introduced me to Kerry Fitzpatrick. We disagreed then on how Ceredigion would fare for the next 3 years with the rollout. Today, I think it's 55, 56, 57% of Ceredigion has fast fibre. A lot of the rural area is kind of been left behind. But if you drive around, you see work going on. You see FBT hanging from the poles. If you go onto roadworks.org, there is work going on, and what we learned from this is it is a huge project. We are just the smallest fraction of 0.0001% of what's going on in Wales. And if you do this, it was a significant work for us. It was maybe 15 or 20 days. You get a small picture of how big this project is. So apart from any area other than the Highlands of Scotland, Ceredigion must be the most challenging area of the UK to roll out fibre. But Kerry, I'm good to my word. We looked into it, and the Mankini has been banned under human rights legislation. So it is going to have to be short. When I mentioned that I would run round the field in joy, you said, and I'll quote your exact words, "I look forward to seeing that." We have fast broadband!